All right, time for some business updates. Commerzbank is Germany's second largest bank. It's one of those deemed too big to fail in the financial crisis a few years back. The German government saved it, investing up to 16 billion euros. Now that the bank is doing well again, investors from abroad have started to take note. Lars Holter is with Deutsche Welle. He joins me from Berlin. Lars, what's happening at Commerzbank?
Thanks for having me. Well, it's a bit of a financial thriller, complete with In the Shadow of the Night action. What happened is the German government, not believing in a state-owned bank, has been selling off some of its shares in Commerzbank. The shares the government had bought in 2008 and 2009 when it steadily increased its stake in the bank to make sure it got through the financial crisis. Berlin ended up eventually owning 25% plus one share. And now, like I said, they're selling. Last week, they offered a 4.5% stake in an overnight auction that was led by JP Morgan. And to everyone's surprise, that stake got picked up by Italy's UniCredit. And just after that bank had announced that they already owned 4.5%, no bank would just buy up shares of another bank if it weren't for an ulterior motive, of course. So Berlin and Commerzbank, too, by the way, were suddenly worried about an unfriendly takeover.
Lars, what role is the German government playing in all of this?
The financial crisis started in the US. That was over the bankruptcy of Lehman Brothers back then. Banks around the globe quickly got in trouble. The German government did what it had to do and saved the bank, becoming a silent shareholder. But it's interesting to see what happened more recently. It's one thing, of course, for any shareholder, and especially the government, to unload some shares and move out of businesses that should technically not be owned by the government in the first place. But it's an entirely different thing when the process betrays incompetence, and that's what it looks like here. Apparently, Berlin was unaware of UniCredit's interest in Commerzbank. They also didn't know that they already had a stake and were a strategic investor in the bank. So they sold these shares to the Italians rather unwittingly and much too cheap. One could argue that an investor like UniCredit might have paid a lot more for shares it would like to buy as part of a bigger strategy. So the German government didn't do a great job here, and it's maybe just underlining why they shouldn't have their hands in this kind of business in the first place.
So what's happening now? Will Commerzbank be an Italian company soon?
That's unlikely. First of all, with a 9% stake, UniCredit is far from being that influential yet. The German government still has 12% of the bank and is thus the largest individual shareholder. And Berlin has already said they would stop further selling their stake in Commerzbank. But there's some good news too, some relief out of Italy. UniCredit says that while indeed they would like to buy up Commerzbank, they would not want to do it against the will of the bank and not against the will of the German government either. That makes a lot of sense. On the one side, of course, UniCredit was looking for a larger footprint in Europe, but on the other hand, having the government against you from the get-go, and as a bank that would be even larger than the previous too big to fail bank, would be complicated and is certainly a turn-off for management as well.